The deadline to file taxes is fast approaching, unfortunately. And guess what? If you pay someone to walk your dog, watch your kids, or clean your house, the IRS considers you an employer. So what does that mean for your family? We have Kerri Swope, Senior Director of Care.com HomePay, here with the scoop. Kerri, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, who's on the hook for this? We call it nanny tax,
yes,
but it's technically a household employer tax. Who's on the hook for it?
That's correct. So any family who has been paying a caregiver to work in their home. So as you mentioned, that could be a babysitter, a dog walker, a nanny, or even the part-time babysitter who's coming to watch your kids on Friday night. And if you pay more than $2,000 to that caregiver in a year, which is a very low threshold, you are responsible for the nanny taxes, and that caregiver's employer in the eyes of the IRS.
Okay, so if you are responsible for this tax, how do you file it, and is it too late to go about doing so?
It is not too late. It's actually a common mistake families make in not realizing how often they have to file the nanny taxes. It does require a family to file on a quarterly basis with the IRS in the state, not just April 15th deadline. But it isn't too late. There may be a few penalties for late filing, but you can always catch those up and make sure and start 2016 off on the right foot.
So what are some common mistakes that people make while they are filing this tax?
Not taking advantage of tax breaks available to them. Many families automatically assume that paying the dreaded nanny taxes are expensive and can be costly, but there are tax breaks available to families to help offset those costs. Dependent care account or flexible spending account is one they can take advantage of, and if they don't have access to that through their employer, they can take advantage of something called the Child and Dependent Care Tax Credit when they're filing the tax return this year.
Okay, so there are definitely some good things to look for.
Yes.
What about income derived from these popular sites, popular services like Airbnb? Does that fall under the nanny tax?
That I can see how that would be a misconception as well, or a great question. It's completely separate from the household nanny taxes. And a family who's renting out their home on Airbnb may want to look into further what the tax implications of doing that. It's different for each state, and they likely will need to file that on their personal income tax return rather than getting something from Airbnb as like a tax form or a W-2 form.
Right. It's income, but not necessarily employing anyone.
Exactly. Exactly.
Any other tips you have for households that pay these babysitters, nannies, cleaning ladies?
Sure. We recommend at Care.com HomePay making sure to start the relationship off on the right foot, withhold taxes from $1, and make sure the caregiver and you have a nanny contract in place, which we can help families with, to make sure that the responsibilities are clear and they know what the taxes are that are being withheld and what benefits that the caregiver can take advantage of.
Perfect. All right. Well, Kerri Swope, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.